Hey guys, it's Dr. Keck at the Sports Pod. We had another series a little bit ago on the difference between hip mobility and hip flexibility. So today we're really going to dive into some ways that you can really increase that hip mobility or that motor control that you have over the hip. So we're going to do what we call hip CARs today. CAR stands for controlled articular rotations. This is a really big word for we're going to do a joint circle at the hip, isolating that hip only. So we're going to keep everything else nice and tight. That movement is only going to come from our hip joint. So I always like to hold on to something. We can stabilize there. I'm staying nice and tight through here. I want to keep that ribs over pelvis here, and I'm only going to be moving through this right hip. So we're going to start in flexion with a little bit of adduction. So I'm bringing it across my body here. From here, I'm going to pull it all the way out into abduction, still really trying to pull it up as high as I can. From here, I can't go any further. So I'm going to start to internally rotate that hip and bring it back around into extension. As you can see, I'm not doing a lot of extension through my low back. So a lot of people, when you don't have that extension through the hip here, you try to get a little bit more by really arching through that low back. We don't want any of that. So you really don't have a whole lot of hip extension. So you really just want to squeeze that glute, and it's going to be small. That's okay. From here, we're going to reverse it. So we're going to go into that hip extension, externally rotate that hip, bring it on up, still really pulling across the body and down. So that's one way to do it. That's going to be the easiest way to start. From there, we can kind of progress it in some ways. I'm going to use this as my stabilizing object now, and I'm going to do a hip car, but over this object here. So it's going to look the same, but I'm really just focusing on not touching this object, keeping everything here tight. So we go up. So we recommend doing these about 5 each side, there and back. So like a full around the world. Counts as 1, 5 times each, maybe 2 times a day. If you have questions about this, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram @thesportspod, or you can find us on the web at www.thesportspod.co.